Welcome to Old Man Sports Talk, and today we're going to talk about March Madness and the semifinals, NCAA Final Four. And the Final Four this year is going to feature three teams for the very first time in Florida Atlantic, San Diego State, and Miami. One returning team in Yukon Huskies who have been there multiple times. I think they've won four national championships. So nothing new for them, but the other three, pretty exciting time for them. Some people think this is kind of a boring Final Four because you don't have your name brand teams like Duke, North Carolina, Kansas, Villanova, those sort of things. But I actually kind of find it exciting. And actually, it shows me that basketball is more paired than a lot of sports are. You've got these underdog teams making it not only the Final Four, but you got teams that make it to the Elite Eight. You got teams that make it to the Sweet 16. You got upsets in the first round. Purdue getting beat by Farley Dickinson in the first round. Who's seen that coming? Um, you've also got Creighton making it all the way to the Elite Eight. Was really just two tenths of a second from making it to the Final Four. A foul was called there. I'm not going to discuss that today. I really think it wasn't an obvious foul. I think it should have been let go personally, but it was a call that was made on the court, and Florida or San Diego State still had to go to the line, hit two free throws, and they did, and they won the game. Little heartbreak for Creighton. They had a great year, man. I don't know how many they got coming back, but that will, uh, you know, uh, that'll be a team to watch for next year. Let's talk about the games today. At uh, at 5:09 Central Time, we have first game between Florida Atlantic and San Diego State. Two of those teams I said will be there for the first time, being there for the first time. Florida Atlantic started the season as a ninth seed, and San Diego State started the tournament as a fifth seed. Both teams, um, you know, really weren't predicted to be here. A nine seed, it's a 50-50 if you get out of the first round. And a fifth seed, you're probably looking at getting knocked out in the second round. But they both, let's take a look at their schedules and who they played. Now, actually, before we get into that, I want to mention something real quick. Here was the final rankings of the basketball rankings, the final rankings entering going into the tournament. UConn was ranked 10th in the AP and 12th in the coaches poll. Miami was ranked 16th in the AP and 15th in the coaches poll. San Diego State was ranked 18th in both the AP and the coaches, and FAU, Florida Atlantic, was ranked 25th in both the coaches and the AP poll. So that right there shows you that nobody really predicted them to be where they're at right now. Any of those four teams where they're at right now, but it's about getting hot and getting hot at the right time. That's why we all love this tournament. So before we go into the games today, I want everybody, if you like coffee, go to oldmancoffee.shop and get you some coffee. We have 47 different flavors there, and if you like that's the grounds kind, or if you like cups, we got those in some of the flavors also. Not all 47, but we do have it available. So go in there and get you some coffee. We also have the tumblers. I don't have one up here with me today. We do have the tumblers. You can get you the tumbler. You've seen it. If you've been watched the show before, you've definitely seen them. So go get you a tumbler, and then of course you got your T-shirts. We'll support Old Man Sports Talk by getting you a T-shirt. So Florida Atlantic finished the season 35, or they're 35-3 now. Entering the tournament, they was 31-3. Their road in the tournament, they beat number 8 seed, number 24 ranked in the season, Memphis, by 1 point. So Memphis ranked 24, Florida Atlantic ranked 25. They went head to head the first round, and what was predicted, right? 24 versus 25 should be a close game, and Florida Atlantic came on top by 1 point. Then the next round they had to play Farley Dickinson, the team that beat the number one seed Purdue in the first round. And Farley Dickinson gave them all they could handle for, but Florida Atlantic walked away with an 8-point win. Now you're in the Sweet 16. You know you're going to get tougher, and you got an SEC matchup with Tennessee. Tennessee finished the regular season ranked number 20th in the country, but Florida Atlantic had no problems with them beating them by 7 points. And then in the Elite Eight, they took on the Big 12, hottest team going into, well, really hottest or second hottest team going into from the Big 12 going into that week. And they took on Kansas State. And it was a tough one. We pulled out at the end. And by the way, Kansas State was finished the regular season ranked 15th in the country. And they won by 3. Florida Atlantic won by 3. San Diego State finished 31-6 now. It was 27-6 going into the tournament. They started off the tournament by playing Charleston. They weren't ranked, but they was on the outside looking in of the rankings. Then they played Furman. Oh, by the way, they beat Charleston by 6 points. They beat Furman by 3 points. And Furman is not ranked. They weren't, at the end of the season, they weren't ranked. And then in the Sweet 16, they get to play number 1 Alabama. Alabama was number 1 in the country starting the season. Not only number 1 seed in the region, they was the number 1 team in the country, and they beat Alabama by 7 points. And then, as I mentioned earlier in the show, they played Creighton, who was not ranked, but they were the first team out of the rankings. So I put them as ranked number 26, and they beat Creighton by 1 on a late foul there at the end of regulation. So this matchup, to me, clearly San Diego State had an much easier path to get to where they are right now, and they didn't blow anybody out. They actually, the team they beat by the most was the number 1 team in the country, Alabama. So they are a gritty team. They're a very tough team. And in Florida Atlantic, they had a little tougher matchup. 3 out of those 4 teams, Memphis, Tennessee, and Kansas State, really good teams. All 3 of them were ranked at the end of the season, and they managed to pull all those games out. So I think they're just as gritty and just as tough. And just for saying that, I'm picking Florida Atlantic to beat San Diego State, upset San Diego State, make it 5 in a row upsets they do, and find their way to the championship game. And the night game, which will tentatively start at 7:49 p.m. Central Time tonight, you got the Miami Hurricanes against the UConn Huskies. Miami was a 5th seed in their region, and UConn was a 4th seed. So we got a 4-5 matchup. By the way, this is the first time ever in the history of the tournament that none of the top 3 seeds of any region have ever made it, or didn't make it to the semifinal, make it to the Final Four. So that's pretty impressive. Again, that shows the parity of basketball. Miami, let's take a look at who they played. They start off playing Drake. Drake, again, was not a ranked team. They were just on the outside looking in, and they beat Drake by 7 points. Then they had to play Indiana. Indiana finished the season ranked number 16th in the country. I'm sorry, number 21 in the country, but beat them by 16 points. Pretty impressive win right there. Then they had to play Houston. Houston was one of the hottest teams coming into the tournament. They were ranked number 2 in the country starting the tournament. They had number 1 seed in the region, and they beat Houston by 14 points. Another very impressive win. And then they played the Texas Longhorns, probably one of the hottest. They were the hottest team in the Big 12. They won the Big 12 tournament. They ranked number 5 in the country. Just probably should have got a number 1 seed, but just ended up with a number 2 seed. And they beat Texas by 7 points. And Texas, by the way, led all the way up until about 8 or 9 minutes to go in the game. So, and had a double-digit lead for a lot of that game. So Miami fought hard, came back, and won convincingly by 7 points. So, very tough road. They played three top five teams, beat the number one and number two seeds in their region, and they beat two top five teams they were ranked in the top five at the end of the regular season. So, very very impressive road to the Final Four for Miami. UConn finished the season 29, or they're 29-8 now. It was 25-8 starting the tournament. They played Iona, who was not ranked and was not on the outside looking in, and they beat them by 24. Then they played St. Mary's. St. Mary's was ranked number 19 in the country in the regular season, and they beat them by 15. Very impressive win. Then they played Arkansas. Arkansas is probably the most underachieved team this season in basketball. They had a number one recruiting class in basketball and had a great team returning from last year who I believe got to the Elite Eight. And they, very disappointing. But they did manage to make it to Sweet 16. And Arkansas lost to UConn by 23. And then in the Elite Eight, they played Gonzaga, who finished the season ranked number 9 in the country, but was no match for UConn, who beat UConn won by 28. So the team-wise was not necessarily as impressive. Gonzaga is very impressive. Arkansas should have been an impressive win, but really you didn't know what you were getting when you play Arkansas because they just weren't consistent. And then, but their margin of wins or margin of what they won by was very impressive. The least amount of points they won by was 15, and that was the St. Mary's, who was also, again, ranked number 19. So very, very impressive wins by UConn. UConn is really, really hot. Miami is really, really hot. I think this is going to be a great matchup. I think that probably whoever wins this matchup wins the national championship. So who do I think is going to win the game? Man, it's a tough one to say, but I'm going to go with Miami. I'm just going to pick Miami just because their teams they played is more impressive. Yes, UConn won by a lot. Their win margin was very impressive, but the teams that they played was not as impressive as Miami, including beating number 1 and number 2 seeds like Miami did, and 2 top 5 teams. Miami, I think, is just as hot as UConn. I'm picking Miami to beat UConn tonight. Before I get to the championship games, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe and ring the bell so you get future notifications of when I release videos or go live. Please go ahead and do that right now. Take your time. Take your time to do that while we're taking this quick break. Also, go in and check out the other videos. Leave some comments. Matter of fact, who do you think is going to win tonight's games? And overall, who do you think will win the national championship on Monday night? So I picked FAU and Miami to make it to the national championship. Both those teams are really good and really hot. I think it will be a great game no matter who shows up in the national championship game. And as far as who am I picking to win the national championship, I've already broken down the teams, what they've done, what their accomplishments were. So there's no reason to go back over that stuff. I'm just going to tell you right now, I think Miami is the hottest team in the country right now. Very impressive wins over Houston and Texas. Their last 2 wins, by the way. They're going to play UConn tonight. That would be another impressive win. That would be 4 out of their 5 wins against top 5. No, I'm sorry. It would be 4 out of 5 against ranked teams, but 4 in a row against ranked teams. Florida Atlantic would also have 4 or 5 against ranked teams, but none of them higher than ranked 15th. And that was, well, yeah, not even Miami. Miami's ranked 18th. So Kansas State would have been our most impressive win. So I'm going with Miami. It'd be on Monday night. If Miami loses to UConn, though, I'm going with UConn. So um, just a heads up on that. But I think it'll be two or three great games, 2 tonight, 1 Monday night. Go in and check them out. I'll miss a little bit of the first game, if not all of it, because I'll be on the golf course. But anyways, I'm definitely going to watch it when I get back and be really impressed. Hopefully, be really impressed with the games. Also, tomorrow I'm doing a special show. It's going to be on women's basketball. HXC Gaming and my boy Jump, who was on this show, one of the first shows we had, he had a special request on doing a show on women's college basketball. And tomorrow is the women's college national championship. So before and it's tomorrow afternoon. So before their game, I will do a show on the state of women's college basketball, what I think it is, and where it's going and that sort of thing. So anyways, appreciate you guys for tuning in today. Watch the show, tell your friends about it, like and subscribe, and again, ring the bell. That way you know all the future notifications. Enjoy the games tonight, and we'll see you next time.